under the corporation which Mr. Amlan Basu heads, about 2,000 million tons of coal is available to us. That's a 1 lakh crore possibility of the future. And this is not hypothecated, as they say in their technical language. This is real stuff. So once Deocha Pachami, which we are working on, Mamata Bandyopadhyay has given, the Honorable Chief Minister given a lot of emphasis to this. As we open that up, there will be huge potential in terms of the coal-using entities of this state. In fact, the Chief Minister has taken the lead on this, and Amlan Babu as chairman is following that up. So my submission is that Deocha Pachami will change the landscape of the raw material in the state, which are our own. Aside from, of course, the competitive bidding, etc., to which people like Mr. Jindal will go for in the new dispensation and new policy matrix, we can provide to all of you from the steel industry the potential of coal. And I am told that our coal is among the best in the world. So we don't need an Australia to tell us we can do better, or a South Africa for that matter. We will produce the future right here in Deocha Pachami. May I turn for a moment to the iron ore sector. You'll be happy to know that there are 3 districts of West Bengal where there is potential. Here you can use the word hypothecated, possibly hypothecated reserves. And we are working not only on coal, but the future. We hope to discover that there is in fact similar kind of iron ore possibility. Exploration we will do in a big way for this. 3 districts have been identified already. If this happens, you know these minerals, you have to hypothecate, then you have to do seismic analysis, you have to do all kinds of things. Process is on. And we hope that the iron ore sector as raw material will open up right here rather than going to Jharkhand and Orissa and so on in the future. I now turn to my final comment. I wanted to be as brief as possible on Mr. Jindal's tremendous enterprise here. I want to tell you, I saw in the AV many qualities of Mr. Jindal stated there. I want to tell you a story which told me that day. An Honorable Chief Minister was really pleasantly surprised and happy. At the Shalboni, which had issues, the land is there. You've already invested in CSR significantly. You've also invested in other things. The leader sitting to your left. There was some discontent among some of the farmers from whom Mr. Jindal's company had bought land. Because they wanted the land back, etc. Because it has been a while, they cannot wait. They didn't feel they wanted to wait till the coal and iron ore linkages developed, which I'm sure is moving forward. I telephoned Mr. Jindal and I said to him that there's a little bit of discontent. So what can you do? I think 294 acres, which you had bought in patches long time ago. You know what he said? This is what corporate leadership is about at the highest level. He said, I'll return the land. Because I want the farmers not to be unhappy. I want my ecosystem to be comforting. I said, you return the land? Yes, I will. He didn't consult a lawyer. He didn't consult his CEO. You know what I find often people doing? He knew the ecosystem, he understood the sensitivity. That is leadership. Then he said, I'll return it without any cost. Because I know I want my people there to be happy. Because we are doing CSR for them. What's the problem? Then he added that since they were taken in bits and pieces, I'll give a consolidated land and I will make sure, I'll tell my colleagues to make it cultivable. So I called Honorable Chief Minister, who had said to me, Amita, please look into this, there's a lot of discontent there. She said, he'll return them. I said, yes. Free of cost. almost CSR. CSR of a large magnitude and cultivable. I'd like to congratulate him. This I have not seen in my life very often. On the telephone, a CEO of the highest order. Sensitivity to its neighbors, to its people, to grassroots elements. Just takes a snap decision like that. That's what worked. The people are very happy. They said, we couldn't believe this. And the district magistrate was immediately told by the Honorable Chief Minister that you process them. There are a lot of paperwork to be done. All that started instantaneously. Then he came up, and again he was feeling uncomfortable that he has this land, and he has a huge dream of a very, very big, very major thing, but his raw material had nationally become issues. So he said, why don't I do a cement plant? Get something going. Because that's another core component. Needs a lot of small land, but not so large a piece of land. I'm delighted that that is true, and I think Mr. Gupta has pursued it. In fact, he said this to me in conversation one day after speaking with you. And now I believe that you're proposing to also have a captive power plant there. And now we are, of course, keenly looking forward to your raw material chain, where your big dream of that huge project will come up in the future. But you said, I don't want to just sit there, I want to do something to show to my common people around there that look, we are doing something, you'll get jobs. You'll start moving, your standard of living will go up. So I congratulate you, Mr. Jindal, for taking that decision, not an easy one, because you had a project, DPR, very intensive, professionally done, and you have in effect value added to that. So my submission to this august audience is A. India is skipping in this sector, 6.1% growth, and I gave you the negatives. So there's hope. There's resplendency in the future. 2. Skills is very, very critical to this sector. So I would urge, I think the first ever, I think it's the only one in India, there is a skill development council in this sector which is working with our government. But we need to appeal to Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industry, take the leadership along with people like Mr. Jindal of massive skill formation with 100% placement. Samsung is here. We have given them brick and mortar. They created the internals, 100% placement. Raymond's is here with 5 centers teaching women the skill, giving them the skills of zari work at a much higher level with computers. So we would urge both on a private CSR basis to Mr. Jindal as well as on a chamber basis to Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industry to look at skill dimension in Bengal in a massive way. 3. Yes, Bengal is skipping as well. You have heard that 7.5% growth of India in terms of GVA, the new calculation. Bengal is growing at 10.48%, that you know. Industry is higher than India. Agriculture is hugely higher. Services is higher. But the best example I can give today is the data I gave you. 193%, and I'm not counting 14-15, this is 2013-14 data compared to 2010-11. Almost twice the quantum of crude steel production in West Bengal, doubled in these 3 years. And also huge is the turnover from 7,500 crores to 20,000 crores in manufacturing and retail. And if you take, say, 30% or 25% in retail, you still come up with a 75% of that number. And of course, I am delighted that taxes have gone from 300 crores to 850 crores. And most happy about the small and medium enterprise development in the foundries, because it will employ 10,000 people, 20,000 directly and indirectly additionally, 30,000 people to be employed in the foundry park of joint effort of the private sector and the government, WBIDC. And of course, Deocha Pachami. What a huge opportunity for coal, and hopefully we'll stand here some years later and say we found iron ore as well, not just coal. Thank you very much. Namaskar, Nevin. Onek dhanyabad. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I look forward to the awards that you will present, because these iconic figures have to be really honored by all of us. They create jobs. They create the future. And of course, at the end of the day, I take taxes so that I can build the infrastructure for the common people, social and physical. Namaskar.